A New York judge has given the green light for lawsuits against social media companies that stand accused of playing a role in the deadly Tops supermarket shooting in Buffalo, New York, that took place back in 2022. Now, just as a reminder of the events, before we get to the details of why anyone would want to sue social media sites to begin with, Peyton Gendron was the 18-year-old who opened fire at the supermarket in Buffalo, New York back in May 14th of 2022. 10 people, all of whom were black, were killed and 3 others were wounded. This was a predominantly black neighborhood. In fact, the shooter had driven 200 miles from his home to basically carry out this horrible, horrific act of violence. And he was inspired by the so-called replacement theory, the idea that white people in America are being replaced by people of color. He's already serving a life sentence with no chance of parole. He pleaded guilty to state charges of murder and hate-motivated domestic terrorism. But in January, it was also announced that federal prosecutors are currently seeking the death penalty for the shooter. Now let's go to the lawsuit. So you have the context, you understand what motivated this horrific crime and mass killing of innocent people. Now let's understand why people would want to sue social media platforms.
Money.
So last year, family members of victims and survivors of the shooting announced that they had filed multiple lawsuits against those who they believe played a role, and among them were social media sites. Filed in state Supreme Court in Erie County, one lawsuit names multiple social media platforms or their parent company, collectively identified as social media defendants, including Meta or Facebook, Snap, YouTube, Discord, Alphabet, 4chan, and Amazon? So I'm guessing maybe Twitch, I don't know. I
guess.
So there is a second lawsuit that doesn't have to do with the social media platforms. That second lawsuit focuses on basically going after the gun store in which Gendron purchased the firearm and the firearm that he used during this horrific killing and mass shooting. So it's Vintage Firearms LLC that's being targeted in this lawsuit, a weapons manufacturer known as Means Arms, and a body armor supplier, RMA Armament. They're all named as defendants in the second lawsuit. The shooter's parents are also named for allegedly disregarding warning signs from the shooter, allowing him to amass guns and combat gear in their home, and for not using New York State's red flag law to disarm him. So, as far as the social media sites go, the argument is that they contributed to the shooter's radicalization. They helped him acquire information or a way of basically planning the attack that he carried out. They're alleging that these sites promoted extreme content and offered specialized forums related to tactical gear. So that's why they're going after the social media platforms. And I'm curious what you think about that, Cenk.
A lot of mainstream media don't give you honest news. We do, you know why? Because of you. Paid membership on YouTube makes all the difference. Hit the join button below and you become the hero that sustains us. Okay, I think it's a terrible idea. I hope they lose. So now that's a little bit heartbreaking because these are good folks overall and they went through a terrible tragedy and the guy who did it could get the death penalty, and I'm against the death penalty, but oh well. So in this case, whatever the maximum punishment is, like life sentence, he should definitely get. So I don't want anybody misinterpreting the civil lawsuit as being any kind of green light to this guy's ideology, let alone what he did, right? And a great replacement theory is dumb, wrong, doesn't make any sense, on and on, right? So now, in this case, what they're saying is, well, since you allowed these people to exist on your platform that has literally billions of people on it, it's your fault. Okay, it's like saying, well, before the Turner Diaries, which is a terrible thing, was printed on paper and you allowed the paper to exist. So I'm suing you, paper. It's your fault, paper. No, it's the person's fault.
Okay, but let me play devil's advocate here, because look, overall, I think I agree with you, but there are some, I think, decent arguments made here that I want you to respond to. So number one, we all know how algorithms are set up. Like, let's focus on Facebook or Meta for a second, right? We know that the point is to keep users as engaged as possible, keep them on the site as long as possible.
Yeah.
Right. And in order to do that, the algorithm will serve up content that the person is likely, going to be engaged with and is going to addict them to the social media platform. So that's part of the argument that the plaintiffs are making here.
Yeah, I don't find that 1% persuasive. Television would like to have more ratings, so they try to addict people to their programs. And then they have Fox News, who tells you about the great replacement theory. How come Fox News is at the top of that list?
Okay, but listen to what I'm
television can't be touched. Social media is evil, evil. Shut it down. It allows people to speak. We don't want people to speak. We only want the powerful to speak. So no, I don't find that. Now, on the other hand, Anna, if they could prove in court, and that's why I get why the judge said, well, I'm not going to end the lawsuit right in the beginning. Let's keep going, okay? And even though that sucks, but they're giant companies, so they have enough money, so they'll be fine, right? Because if you could prove in court that they rigged the algorithm to support the great replacement theory or to drive people towards radicals or people who are violent, then okay, then they're definitely guilty.
But Cenk, you know how these algorithms work, Cenk. So basically, look, it happens on my YouTube feed all the time. I watch one YouTube video from one content creator. Let's say I want to research to see what the right wing is saying about a topic we're going to cover. I want to hear their argument. If I watch that video, later, when I go back to my feed, you want to know what my feed is going to be filled with?
Right-wing videos.
All right-wing videos. Well, that's all I'll see.
But why are the different platforms doing that? Because they're feeding human nature. Our nature is to like, hey, if I'm interested in this kind of thing, I want to see more of this kind of thing. Like, I like football. You give me football highlights, I get sucked into it, right? You give me bowling highlights, I don't. Right? So what is the algorithm going to do? It's going to give you what you want. And then we get mad. How dare you give us what we want? Okay, but that has nothing to do with the shooter. Like
it does, Cenk, because if he consumed a video that, spewed the so-called great replacement theory, and then all of a sudden his feed is filled with that content, that can have a radicalizing effect, especially on a young person, a young man.
So what are they supposed to do? Guys, look.
I don't know, but you have to at least acknowledge that there is a possibility of people becoming radicalized by the way that these platforms are, how they function, how their algorithms are purposely set up in order to increase engagement. I don't think Meta or YouTube or any of these platforms are purposely like, oh, we want to radicalize people. I don't think that's what they're doing.
I know, but Anna, so what is that? Look, guys, first of all, here's the context, all right? And let me give you both a disclaimer. We are mainly on YouTube, Facebook. We're on dozens of platforms, but some of these platforms are platforms we're on, right? So, and we have a partnership with those companies, so you take what I'm saying with a grain of salt if you want because of that, okay? But now let me tell you also, I have experience with algorithms more than anyone else, and no one is more frustrated about algorithms than we are, because we would like our stuff served to a broad range of people. And I think these algorithms have huge downsides in other cases, but we have to be fair. So what do we want the algorithms to do? Serve us things we don't want? Like, it doesn't make any sense. The algorithm is doing it so if you like knitting, it's going to give you knitting. If you like Italy, it's going to give you videos about Italy. You like cello, it's going to give you videos about cello. What do you want it to do? Give you something else? You're asking them, please defy human nature and please make less money. So now one of the downsides of that is, yes, if you're an evil person who likes dumb things and conspiracies, there's thousands of conspiracy videos online. And then where do we draw the line? So the great replacement theory is moronic. On the other hand, there's tons of Republican senators that are talking about it. And right-wing media all over the place. What are you gonna do? Shut down Daily Wire, shut down Fox News, etc. Because we don't like what they're saying. Well, I hate what they're saying, but I don't agree that we should shut it down or we should sue them out of existence. And I don't agree that we should shut off all football highlights and etc. because some people are radicals and lunatics. And so these are so ubiquitous now. It's like trying to shut down humanity. Okay, what are we gonna do? Shut down all the platforms because some people in the world are nuts? No, I don't agree with it at all. I think it's very dangerous. And I don't wanna go back to the bad old days. The bad old days are, there's a few people in power that control a few media companies. They feed us corporate crap and there's no other options and they brainwash everyone into compliance. No, I would rather have the mess that we have now. Yes, there's terrible things that come out of it, but there's also amazing things that come out of it. We have unleashed humanity, and humanity has problems, and we have to do the hard work of fixing those problems. Trying to banish platforms that highlight humanity, I don't think is productive, I don't think it's gonna work, and I don't think it's fair.
Thanks for watching. If you become a member, you get to watch all this ad-free, except for, of course, this ad. Still, hit the join button below.